Hello, hello, Luke Summerfield here, growth-driven design evangelist. Figured I'd do a quick video for Jeff posted on the forum. If you want to see the full link, go to the bottom and you can read all the comments and everything and comments on your own. So I'm going to record something really quick and then I'm going to type up the rest of my responses. I'm working out at a coffee shop today, working remote for Thanksgiving. To answer your question, it's a really common question that comes up, which is what do we present to either the prospect in the sales process, or in your case it sounds like you've already sold them, so what do we present to them as a game plan in terms of servicing retainer, and can we map out 12 months? Well, there's a few things I want to note first. The first thing is that at the end of the day, our jobs and why we're being hired is to help produce the best client results possible. And results depends on what is their goal. Like, are they trying to get leads? Are they trying to get sales? Like, what is their goals that we as an agency are being hired to impact? And the problem with that is that the formula of activities, the things that we're doing on a month-to-month basis, is going to change drastically as the relationship progresses. So the things that you're doing in month one are going to be the kind of formula of what's going to produce the best results is going to be probably different in month one than it is in month 3. Then month 6 or 12 or 24, like every month you need to assess and say what combination of activities can we do this month that's going to have the best impact. And it's going to change from month to month. Now, having that conversation up front and letting them know that is really, really key. Now, can you do quarterly planning? Of course. I think quarterly planning is a good idea. For 90 days, you pick a focus. You say, this is where we're focusing our time. You put a flag in the ground, and then you pick, you can maybe map out for those 3 months what, generally speaking, those items are. And, of course, every month you can make adjustments. A year is too long. You have no idea what's going on, and the business is going to be very different a year from now. So a good question in the sales process, if they kind of give you pushback on that, is say, how is your business different 12 months ago? Or was your business different than it was today 12 months ago? And of course they're going to say, yes, things have changed. And so then you can follow up and say, if you were doing things like you were 12 months ago, how different would your business be? And of course they're going to say it's very different. And you say, well, it's the same thing with our marketing. The things we're doing today may be very different than the things we're doing 6 months from now, and so it's a waste of all of our times to try and put that on paper because it's probably going to change along the way. So keep that in mind, and whether that formula of activities is just growth-driven design, or if it's inbound, or if it's sales-related stuff, or in an ideal world, it would be a combination of all of them. I say if I owned an agency tomorrow, I would have one retainer, and it would include growth-driven design services, inbound marketing services, and sales enablement services, and we would pick from those service offerings in the retainer what is the formula we can do that's going to get them the best results. That's how I would approach it. The last piece I'll mention is, okay, so what do you actually present to them in terms of ongoing? So the strategy piece should be pretty well put together. You should have a pretty defined scope of what activities you do in the strategy phase. Now, that may tweak a little bit depending on the size of the engagement. If you're working with a really big budget, you may be doing more in-depth strategy and research. If you have a smaller one, you may have a smaller one. But generally speaking, you kind of know what your process is and how much time it takes. Now, the launch pad, you probably have an idea of general size, and then you need to set and talk to the team about some specifics, but you probably have, you need to set the expectation that coming out of the strategy, coming out of the brainstorming session, you're going to have a much better idea of the actual physical things we're going to build on the site. And that's how you kind of get an idea of that. Now the one thing that does happen, so that's kind of like month 1 and 2 is like strategy and launch pad, so like 60 days. Month 3 to 4 maybe, when you first start a growth-driven design retainer is, now this is just growth-driven design. Of course, you probably have some inbound stuff going on, but for growth-driven design, you're probably going to go back to that wish list and take a look at what are the high-impact things that were a nice-to-have, but not a must-have for the Launchpad site. There's probably some things you filtered out and said, well, this is really good, it's really impactful, but we're not going to get it done in time. So let's put it back on the list, and it's not required for the launch. Now you can go back in those months 2 and 3 or months 3 and 4 after the launch of the site and pick off those high impact things that you just didn't get time to. Maybe go back and revisit some of the site that launched and massage some of the copy or the messaging or the images in some of the medium impact pages. Then from there, then you can go into your continuous improvement cycles, and that's where the line gets a little bit, it's a little less defined what you're doing. So phase 1 and month 1 and month 2, typically it's going to be strategy and launch pad depending on the size of the site. Then after the launch pad's up, you have about a month or two of going back to the wish list and picking off the items you just didn't get to, and then you go into the continuous improvement, and that's where it gets a little more gray, and you have to have that conversation about us building that formula and that being different. But again, focus on the results, focus on the outcomes. Don't get hung up on deliverables, and just have that conversation with them about why focusing on the deliverables is a pointless conversation, because no one has a crystal ball. No one's going to be able to tell you exactly what 12 months from now we should be doing, and anyone who does is taking a stab in the dark and guessing, and it's just not a realistic way to go about building things. So hope that's helpful. Add comments below, and I'll add in a few more text thoughts as well. Thanks.